Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our admin who gave us this message. The message reads like this: Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story? So originally I am from Venda, but currently I am living in Johannesburg, where I am married as well. I am working, but there are memories of things that happened in my past that still haunts me a lot to this very day. So I have my own confession that I want to share with you, and I hope that my story is going to encourage other people out there to pray, and always to pray and never stop praying. So it's not like my father really wanted there to be tension between us and our neighbors, but it all happened all of a sudden. So my parents, they were strong Christians. We used to pray a lot, but as for our neighbors, even though we used to go to the same church, but we would go for days without even speaking to each other. It was something that was quite terrible, that you are neighbors, you do not talk to each other, and when you go to church, sometimes you pretend just in front of the people to smile at each other to make it look like you are good neighbors. But we know that our neighbor, they hated us a lot. I still remember that there was this other time when things were really bad for my family. My father, he had his own van which he was using to go, and he would buy fruits, and then he would sell those fruits to those people that sell fruit and veggie in the streets. So life was really difficult, and my father could not pay because he had taken this car on credit. So when we went for months and months unable to pay for the car, then the car was taken, even though my father had organized that he was going to go and drop the car back. But if the dealership just thought that it was far much better for them to send people to come and repossess the car, it was quite embarrassing. I still remember that our neighbor, she was so happy when she saw that the bank had finally repossessed our father's car. Even though we were not in good communication with him, my father was so desperate, so much that he had tried to send my mom to go and ask our neighbors for some money so that for the month we can just pay the money that my father was owing. And they were celebrating my father's downfall, even though our family was very peaceful, but our neighbors, they were not peaceful at all. So it even became worse after my mother and our neighbor had a confrontation. When they had that confrontation, our neighbor said that we were going to see who she was. She said that she was going to show us the devil. So then her mother came. Her mother was quite an old woman, and even though she seemed to be like a nice person, but she had so much hatred in her heart, and I can say that she was evil. And there were a lot of stories about her. Even in that village where she was staying, we used to hear that she was that kind of a woman whom people were afraid of. Even when I saw her, it made me to feel very uneasy. Then there was one night, I think when I was about 16 years, something happened that I can say it changed our lives forever, and how I wish that my father had not confronted her physically. We went to bed. This was after we had prayed. So the rule in our home was that each and every day around 8 we had to pray, and after we had prayed, we all went to bed quite early. We were exhausted and it was very hot. Then in the middle of the night, that was when we suddenly woke up. We were woken up by strange noises that were coming from the roof of our house. So immediately my father woke up silently. He came and he woke us up and told us not to make any sound, because we genuinely thought that maybe there were some thieves that were trying to gain access into our home. My father was walking around trying to attack anyone that was going to drop from the ceiling. It sounded like there was someone that was walking up there. This happened over and over again. But my father said that it was quite impossible for someone to just walk like that. My father was like, for you not to fall, since our roof was made of corrugated iron, one had to walk whilst you will be following the beams of the house. But this person was just walking, and the person did not even care at all. So my father said that no one could have climbed up there and just to walk like that without falling. That is why he had been waiting for the thief to fall from the roof through the ceiling. And my father said, okay, I am getting out, even though my mom was against that idea. My father grabbed a torch and went outside to see what was going on. And when my father said that he could not see anyone on top of the roof, then my mother followed, and we followed because we were scared to remain alone in the house. When we were all outside, that was when my father kept on shining the torch up at the roof. That was when we all gasped in horror. On top of our house, that was when we saw an old woman. When she saw that we had seen her, she crouched down and she looked like a wild animal. She looked like a creature straight out of a nightmare. My father then said, "What are you doing up there?" My father shouted. His voice was filled with fear and anger at the same time. That woman did not even respond at us. She kept on staring down at us as if she was a terrible creature, and she just laughed, and she kept on laughing. And then finally, before she disappeared, that was when she said, "I am here because I was sent by my daughter. I have been sent to watch over you and to make sure that you do not interfere with what is meant to happen." And then that woman just disappeared. After that woman had disappeared, then we went back indoors. Truly speaking, even my parents, they were so scared. Like, we were praying, but it was that kind of prayer that was filled with fear. We could not sleep throughout the night. We were all gathered in the living room. We called the pastor. He said that when he tried to start his car, the car could not start. He only came in the morning. When he came, we started praying. That was when he said, "Let us walk around the house so that we can see if there is anything." And right now, because maybe it is because of the trauma of seeing that woman transformed into a demonic creature, when I woke up, even before I leave for work, like, I have this little habit. Sometimes it irritates my husband, but he does not know where I am coming from. I always walk around the house. I still remember that on that day, it was somewhere around 6 a.m. when we started walking around the house with the pastor and his wife. That was when we saw a cat. It was a dead cat, a black one, but it was not just a normal cat. This cat, it had some beads, some colorful beads around the neck. The pastor then said to my father, we needed some petrol. Then we got some petrol, and then he ended up burning that cat. So from there on, that was when we heard that our neighbor's mother, she was very sick, and the pastor even said that the woman next door, her mother, was the one whom we had seen. And unfortunately, since we had seen her, that is why we had seen this cat that was dead. That woman got so sick, Brother Nashi, and then she passed away. Even though she passed away, we were really scared because my father had a dream, and he said that I had a dream, and in my dream I was pooping. And when she said that he had a dream and he saw himself pooping, that was when we consulted with another person who said that it is not a nice thing to see yourself poop in the dreams. He said that it is far much better to just see poop, not for you to have a dream and you will be pooping. It is not a nice thing. We just thought that maybe it was just a random dream. The dream came back again. Then my father said that he saw himself. He was in a coffin and he was being dragged down into the grave by someone whom he did not see. A few weeks later, that was when tragedy struck struck our family. My father was involved in a terrible accident just outside of Thohoyandou. He was driving home from work, and the car that he was even using, it was really painful that after my father was long gone, my mom had to fix that car because it did not belong to us. My father had borrowed that car so that he can be able to do his business. This car, it was said that it suddenly veered off the road and crashed into a tree. The impact was so severe that he did not stand a chance. My father died instantly. We were totally devastated. And my father, he was the one who had been providing for us, and he was gone. And in the days following his death, strange things continued happening in our home. We would hear whispers, and whenever we would hear some people that would be talking, my mother, even though she used to be very strong, you would watch that she was in pain. That was when our neighbor came home one night. This was after 8 p.m. when we had our prayers. She just came and she started crying. And my mother, even though she did not want to let her inside because of the way that she was crying, my mom then led her into the living room. And then she confessed that she and her mother, they had been bewitching our family for years. And after her mother had passed away, that was when she started being attacked by other creatures that she could not even describe to us. And she said that the reason as to why I was unable to get into any relationship, even though most of my friends, they had already started dating, it was because she had cursed me, like she had cursed me for life. I was never supposed to get married. And when she confessed that she had tried to curse me so that I can never get married, and I saw that this was the reason as to why I was struggling to even find love. She confessed, and then she started praying. She confessed, and we started praying together. When I was all grown up, that curse, it was still following me. It took me a very long time. I only dated one guy, the man whom I am married to. And sometimes when I look at him, he's someone who does not enjoy praying. He thinks that I am too prayerful. Sometimes he will say that, I'm too busy and you are praying. Can you just keep your voice down? So that is the problem when you get married to a partner who does not understand the things of the spirit. Is someone who loves me, who is kind, who is a family man. The only problem is that when he proposed love to me, as someone who had been struggling to fall in love, I just jumped into the ship without properly determining about where he stands spiritually. So this is my own story. One thing that I have realized in life is that if you have never had a spiritual encounter in your life, it is very hard for you to appreciate what prayer can do. Even though finally this woman confessed to us that she was the one who had been bewitching our family, but the damage was already done. Indeed, we had victory in Christ, but we lost our father in the war. Dear listeners, right, there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admins who received this message. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. If you have any spiritual encounters that you have, please feel free to come to my inbox. Then you share with me your own side of the story.